Go
Oh,
ahead.
very good. Thank you very much. So since Senator Ernst raised the issue of Ms. McCarthy's comment about resiliency and the ignorance of the Midwest, I'm just going to sort of tag onto that a little bit. I'm not going to brag so much about all the wind that we have in North Dakota. We do have a lot of it. But I will tell you this, that winter is an annual event. It's not a vortex. We don't shut the lights off because it's cold. We crank up the coal and the gas to make sure that people stay warm. We don't shift the gas away from manufacturing or heating homes to go over here to a peaking station. We've been talking about the resiliency of the grid for decades before it was the cool thing to do. And so we really, I will just say to you, Ms. McCabe, I'm all about second and third and fourth chances. I'm grateful for all of them that I've had. You have a steeper hill to climb, frankly, than most. Largely because in 2014, you sat before the same committee and promised federalism. You did again today, promised federalism, considering the states, listening to the states. And yet, the Clean Power Plan proved to be one of the most overbearing, big government impositions on states that ever, which is why 26 states successfully litigated it, including mine. And one of the biggest problems, and this is why you have a lot to answer for, frankly, with regard to what you called your proudest accomplishment. The proposed rule in the Clean Power Plan required North Dakota to cut its CO2 emissions by 11%. Now, reasonable, nice Midwesterners say 11%, I don't like it, I don't like the prescription, that's another whole factor, but we can probably do 11%. And then, of course, the final rule comes out since everybody decided, well, 11%, let's play along, let's do our part rather than stand against this thing. And it was 45%. 45% just dropped on a state like North Dakota. That, by the way, is one of the handful or so of states that meet all ambient air quality standards as prescribed by the EPA. We're very proud of that. We love our air. We love our land. We rely on all of that. And so and I've been pushing Mr. Regan really hard on this. I voted for him out of this committee with an understanding that he's going to keep an open mind, that he's going to talk to the people of North Dakota, that he's going to be sincere about it, and he seems to be. Your history with us makes it a lot more difficult. So that lack of transparency and stakeholder interaction, particularly with Middle America, is a tough one for us to get over. And for me to vote for you, I'd have to explain myself pretty clearly to North Dakotans. So I'm going to give you the moment for a couple of minutes to tell North Dakotans, oh, we ought to give you another chance at this.
Well, Senator, I really thank you for being so candid with me, and I'm sorry we didn't have a chance to chat before the hearing. I hope we'll have a chance to chat afterwards. I'd love to do that. So I understand your position and what you're saying. I have to tell you that when I was working at EPA before, I was absolutely sincere in my commitment to involve everybody, and I know that there are many who disagreed with the outcome of that rule. But in terms of listening to people and hearing people and taking everybody's perspective into account, we certainly did that in the lengthy process that we went through on the Clean Power Plan. The final rule, as I said a minute ago, the rule was about carbon emissions, and my state is also a state with a lot of fossil energy, and it had a large reduction expectation as well. But what we tried to do in that rule was build a very flexible approach, and we talked for hours and hours with state officials about how to do this in a way to provide flexibility so that the goal of the rule, which was to reduce carbon emissions, could be done in the most flexible way, giving states as many options as possible to work together, to work internally, to work with other states all across the country to make that happen. And I think we've had success in this country with programs like the Acid Rain program in allowing flexible approaches to do these things affordably.
Well, I would submit to you that you've had success in lots of areas, NOx, SOx, mercury, particulate matter, because you worked with states and stakeholders and the innovators that actually do, the production of the energy met those. But when you pull a bait and switch from 11% to 45%, it's hard. It's hard to, or you go, outside the fence line, or whether you stay inside the fence line. These are important matters, as you know, and it's why the litigation was successful. I appreciate your answer. Don't worry, I'll always be candid. But I'll always do it with a smile. I appreciate you thinking. I yield my time.